Welcome to the 5-Pack, where we talk about the 5 things that matter, 5 things that will matter, and a daily pack rib. Here is your host, Kyle Elfrink.
Welcome you in on a Wednesday afternoon / morning, depending on where you are at. This is the 5-Pack. You are in the correct spot, no matter what time it is on your watch, to find out what you need to care about from last night, what you need to care about for tonight, and to take a stroll down memory lane. Coming up at the end of today's show, we will take a rip and grip of the 1990 Fleer baseball set. Yes, indeed. As the front tells me, I can collect Fleer limited edition sets. No way! This is also the 10th anniversary of Fleer baseball packs. So we'll have some fun coming up with that a bit later in the show. Before then, though, we're going to have a lot of fun with the sports world at large. We got a bit of something for everybody, I think, today. Even some soccer. Oh, yes, we got a huge match coming up later this afternoon over in jolly old England. I'm a soccer guy. I got to talk about it, so we'll get to that coming up. But we always like to begin with our 5 things that mattered from the night before. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things that truly did matter to you, the sports fan. You might have missed them. You might have caught them. You might care about them. You might not care about them, but they matter. Yes, indeed, they matter. We start in the NBA playoffs. That is where we begin, and we touched on this last night. There was the opportunity for 3 first-round series to end on Tuesday night. 2 of them actually did conclude. Denver finishing off Minnesota, and Phoenix finishing off undermanned LA. But there was one underdog who stayed alive. The Atlanta Hawks, behind Trae Young.
Trae lets it hit. Clock starts. 6 seconds by. Trae against Brown. 3 for the win. Let's go! With 1.8.
Trade again.
It's 119 to 117. There was no doubt about it.
Ice trade again.
119.
Bally Sports with the video there. I gotta say, I've complained a lot about modern day nicknames. Sign me up for some Ice Trae. I like that. Good stuff. And you even see the celebration from Ice Trae. The shiver. Oh, yeah. He had a big game last night. Trae Young, who is not the easiest dude to like, let's be honest, for those who don't follow it. Atlanta's had a few ups, probably more downs in the last 2 or 3 years. Trae Young is kind of seen as a guy that's tough to rely on. Is he a true superstar that we can build around, or is he a guy that maybe is more trouble than he's worth? Last night, he was worth the trouble, finishing with 38 points. He had 13 assists, big Game 5 victory. Now, Atlanta still has a ton of work to do, and honestly, they're not expected to do that work. But why that mattered from last night, that big shot, a 30-footer, by the way, by Trae Young. The reason it mattered is because Boston is the 2 seed in the East. We might get to the point where Boston will be the top seed remaining in the East because Milwaukee, who we'll talk about later, they're on the ropes. So there's a lot available for Boston to do in this NBA postseason. If they finish off this series, and right now the odds say, hell yeah, they're going to do it. I mean, the latest odds have Boston at minus 2,500 to take this series from the Hawks. If you want to put some money on the Atlanta Hawks, so plus 1,200, not too bad. They still have to win 2 straight games. Don't know if that's going to happen. But Boston, if they win this series, will advance and they'll take on Philadelphia. Last night, that victory by Atlanta, that delay to clinching the series for Boston, that's going to give Joel Embiid at least 4 more days, maybe even 5 or 6, to heal up his knee. Joel Embiid, who injured his knee last week in the first round, he didn't play in Game 4. Philadelphia still got a sweep against Brooklyn. He needs all the rest he can get this knee right, stable, ready to go. he gets more rest now because of that win, because of that shot by Trae Young. It's huge. It's huge at this point in the year. And a big victory for Atlanta, but a big victory for Philadelphia because they would face Boston in the next round. Game 5 of that series is tomorrow night. You can catch it on TNT. They'll be back in Atlanta. I should say Game 6. That was Game 5 last night. Game 6 is back in Atlanta. That is an 8:30 tip-off coming your way on Thursday night. Let us move to the second item that mattered. We have talked a lot about how some teams in baseball try to win. Others, not so much. For the last half decade, if not longer, one of the teams we've pointed to and said, look at them. They don't even care about winning. They're eliminated every year by April 20th. We always say that about Pittsburgh, right? We say that a lot about Pittsburgh. I've said that about Pittsburgh. We've all said it about Pittsburgh. Well, lo and behold, it is April 26th. And not only is Pittsburgh winning, they are currently first place in the NL Central, even after a loss last night to the Dodgers. But the Bucks are spending money. Oh, yeah, Pittsburgh's spending money. If you missed the news yesterday, Bryan Reynolds, who is not an imminent free agent. I don't even think he'd be a free agent until after 2025. But they want to lock him up. They've been trying to lock him up for months now. It looked on the eve of opening day like it wasn't going to happen. There was some kind of fallout about a opt-out. Bryan Reynolds wanted one. Pirates didn't want to give him one. Well, lo and behold, the news comes yesterday that Bryan Reynolds and the Pirates have agreed to an 8-year, almost $109 million contract. Now, I saw that, and the first thing I thought is that Bryan Reynolds is kind of selling himself short. Bryan Reynolds, with what he has done, and again, it's only 2 to 3 full seasons, but Bryan Reynolds, if he said, okay, we're going to stop baseball today, and we're going to reconfigure everybody's contracts based off what they've done in the last 2 years, Bryan Reynolds is probably close to a $20 million a year player. He is. Now, he doesn't make that much because he isn't even arbitration eligible yet. But now with the Pirates, they give him 8 years. They give him almost $110 million. That works out to what? 13, 14 million bucks a year. It's not chump change. Okay, don't get me wrong. But honestly, if Bryan Reynolds continues to do over the next 3 years what he has done over the previous 3 years, he's making $25 million a season. But he has inked a deal. He is taking care of friends, family, generations of Reynolds to come, and he's sticking with the Pirates. This is a good move. It's good for Reynolds. It's good for Pittsburgh. They have not had much to be happy about in Pittsburgh, but maybe, oh maybe, the start this year, the fact that you've got Bryan Reynolds under contract. Last year, Brian Hayes signed a long-term contract. You got O'Neal Cruz, who's injured right now, but he's a very exciting and young cornerstone kind of player. Brian Hayes, the third baseman, he was kind of the first Pirate to say, hey, I'll stick around. I'll be here. I'll stay with Pittsburgh. He talked yesterday about the signing of Bryan Reynolds.
Yeah, anytime you can sign guys long-term, it just creates excitement for the locker room. It creates excitement for the fans. Really I think the overall attitude of what we're trying to do. Whenever you sign a guy like that long-term, it shows the commitment to kind of the words that they're saying. Furthermore, we're just happy to have him and glad that he's going to be here long-term.
Some good news for Pittsburgh. Oh, it warms the heart. Thanks to Twitter. Kevin Gorman, PGH, providing that clip of Brian Hayes before the game against LA last night. Now, the Dodgers came back late. They got a win against the Pirates, 8-7. Pirates, though, are still 16-8. And like I said, there's some good vibes. They extended their manager, Derek Shelton, over the weekend. So it's a team we've been kicking a lot, but maybe they're finally emerging from the tailspin and starting to build things in the NL Central. If you are wondering, current odds for the Pirates to make the playoffs, not win the division, just to make the playoffs, plus 450. So even with a 16-8 record, making the playoffs, you'd say, you get 90 wins, you're probably in. Probably in with 90 wins. So that would mean they need 74 more victories. 74 more victories in the next 138 games. Got to play well over 500 to get to 90, but they're off to a good start. We'll see where it carries forth. Pirates taking on the Dodgers later this evening, third and final game of that set. Let's go to number 3. Let's stay in the NL Central. Let's talk about those Northsiders, shall we? Last night, a win over the struggling San Diego Padres. I'm not going to get into it today, but we may need to talk about Juan Soto. Juan Soto's hitting 190. It's actually hitting 188 after another 0 for last night. Anyway, we don't want to focus on the negative. What matters to us is the positive. What matters to us is a Cubs pitcher by the name of Justin Steele.
Now has an ERA of 1.24.
Justin Steele not interested. Matt Carpenter strikes out, and there is one away.
4 strikeouts for Justin tonight, and Carpenter victimized.
Swing and a miss, strike 3. Grisham is retired, 2 away. That's 5 strikeouts tonight for Justin Steele.
Mark it down. Justin Steele, 4-0. Justin Steele now a 1.19 ERA, a .89 whip. Who the hell is this guy? Well, thanks to the Marquee Network last night, we got to see what he looks like. Here's the thing with Steele. His major league career is young, but he is not young. He was drafted way back in 2014. Drafted out of high school. It's been a long and winding road to get to the Cubs. Check this out. Justin Steele, since the All-Star break last year, and this covers 12 starts, his ERA is 1.10. And last night, 5 1/3 shutout innings for the Cubs. Yesterday on the show, we talked about Spencer Strider. He of the massive strikeouts. And I talked about Strider. It's fastball, slider, fastball, slider. That's all it is. Guess who else is nothing but fastball, slider? It's Justin Steele. 95% of his pitches, fastball, slider, fastball, slider. It's a 2-pitch guy. Now, again, old-time baseball, you can't be a starting pitcher with just 2 good pitches. Strider, though, is, and now here comes Justin Steele. Now, Strider is a much bigger arm, higher velocity, all that stuff. Steele is kind of getting by with keeping batters unnerved, keeping them from being too aggressive. They're not comfortable. They don't know where the pitches are coming in. He has great control, command, all that stuff. He's not a guy throwing at 98 like Spencer Strider is. Statistically, because sometimes you get results and you say, it's luck. Statistically, if you kind of look under the hood with Justin Steele, he is top 10 in baseball in soft contact percentage. He is also top 10 in baseball in not allowing hard contact. The guy's dominating. Cubs get the shutout last night. He has 5, or I should say the Cubs have 5 shutouts this year, which is a big number. 22, 23 games into the season. Justin Steele has been the starting pitcher for 4 of those 5 shutouts. Now, if you want to get in early on the Justin Steele Cy Young train, plus 4,000 to win the NL Cy Young. He'd get votes today. I don't know if people realize how good he's doing, and it's only 5 starts, or 4 starts, I guess. But looking good for Justin Steele. Now, there's another Cubby looking good. And dare I say, this guy is the everyman's NL MVP. Like little guys like me, normal dudes like me, guys who didn't play professional baseball, guys who don't stand like 6'6", 240, guys who don't look like Aaron Judge. We love seeing a guy like Nico Horner have success, and he had more last night.
1. Ball down the line, and that's going to score at least 2. Velasquez on his horse. It's going to clear the bases. Nico Horner into third. And it's a 3-run triple, and the Cubs have broken it open. 6-0.
Guess who's batting almost 350 with 9 stolen bases, and on-base percentage of 390? Guy who drove in 3 last night with that triple, Nico Horner. Now, I gave you the Justin Steele NL Cy Young odds. I checked on Nico Horner, and at least at DraftKings, he's not on the board. And there are like 30 dudes on the board. I mean, Joey Votto is on the board. DraftKings, wake up. Give me some odds on Nico Horner at the top of that Cubs lineup. He's having an epic start to the season, and we saw this a bit in the second half last year with him as well. And he has carried it on into the first half. He has 7 strikeouts and 105 plate appearances. Who does that? Not guys who win the MVP, but I'm here to say, and this pains me, I'm out of St. Louis. I can't like the Cubs. But Justin Steele, Nico Horner, pay attention, baseball fan. Speaking of St. Louis, let's move to our 4th moment that mattered last night. This was a very sad one for the St. Louis Cardinals. It continues a sad start to the 2023 season. Late night in San Francisco, the Giants got a walk-off.
High drive. Center field. It is out of here. And this game is over. What do you know? Walk it off, Rook.
NBC Sports Bay Area with that Blake Sabol walk-off home run. If you're wondering who the hell is Blake Sabol, he's a rookie. He's like a catcher / outfielder. He's a Rule 5 pickup. He does have 4 home runs this year. He also has 23 strikeouts to 1 walk. Big moment, though, for him. Big moment for the Giants. Another rough moment for the St. Louis Cardinals. Their record is now 9-15. Now, teams get off to bad starts. Franchises get off to bad starts. The Cardinals do not get off to bad starts. 9-15 is a .375 winning percentage. Through 24 games, 9-15. The Cardinals have not had a winning percentage that low, .375 or lower, through the first 24 games since 1973. 50 years ago. 50 years. This is the worst 24-game start for that franchise in 50 years. Now, they're not buried. They're 7 games back, and when you're behind the Pirates and the Cubs, even the Reds, you can make up ground, okay? So it can happen. But a rough start, this doesn't happen to the Cardinals. You don't expect to wake up in late April and look at the NL Central and see St. Louis at the bottom. Right now, the odds, they are still the 2nd pick out of the NL Central to win the division. Cardinals listed at +240. Milwaukee is at -110. So despite the Cubs and the Pirates starting out the way they have, they are not favorites in the NL Central. It's still Milwaukee. It's still St. Louis. One thing I'll say about last night, Ryan Helsley, the closer, he gave up the 3-run shot to turn a 4-2 lead into a 5-4 loss. He threw 18 pitches last night. I was reading this today. 18 pitches last night. Only 4 of them were fastballs. I bring that up because Ryan Helsley, his average fastball this year is 99.1. 18 pitches, 4 fastballs when you throw 99. I don't know. Got a weapon like that? Try using it, right? Try using it. Our 5th and final moment that mattered from last night takes us to Tennessee. Wait a second, Kyle. Tennessee doesn't have a baseball team. They don't. This has nothing to do with baseball. It has something to do with football because Tennessee does have a football team, the Tennessee Titans. And it looks like the Titans are going to remain in Nashville and in Tennessee for a very, very long time. Last night, the Nashville City Council, in effect, gave like $760 million to the Titans to build them a new stadium. That comes on top of the $500 million that the entire state of Tennessee is giving to the Titans. Let me do the math for you. The state of Tennessee, the volunteer state, they have volunteered $126 billion to only help the Titans build their new stadium. Because $1.3 billion doesn't buy you a whole stadium. That only covers most of it. And you might be wondering, wait a second, golly, how do you get people to spend $1.3 million in tax money or in giveaways or in tax breaks and all this stuff? How do you do? Well, you put together hype videos like this one about the new stadium. Give me some of that. You want 1.2 million? Why not 1.5 billion? How much is it going to take, Tennessee? It's total silliness. I'm not going to get into a big debate about economics. I don't have a degree. You can see my wall. There's no economics degree. But everything I read says this is such a... It's not a waste of money, but it does not create more money. To put this in perspective, I was reading an article at The Athletic. $1.26 billion in public subsidies, tax breaks, whatever you want to say. That is the highest in U.S. sports history, $1.26 billion. It is the highest in U.S. sports history by almost 50%. Maybe Tennessee has got no other problems. I don't know. Maybe they don't. Who needs the tax revenue, right? You know, Nashville will just crumble into the river if they don't have the Titans to play football there. You know, we'll never hear of Nashville again. I mean, Dolly Parton, who, Johnny Cash, no one will ever hear of Nashville again. You think the Predators are going to? I will say, when you've just given almost $1.3 billion to your NFL team, you probably, I guess, maybe Tennessee is much better off than I thought. You probably don't have the extra $800 million or $1.5 billion lying around to give to an expansion baseball team. Nashville's been talked about a lot as an expansion site for Major League Baseball. With this kind of seed money for the Titans, I don't know if that state's going to be handing out more money to a brand new baseball team. Those are the 5 things that mattered from last night. Yes, we even get into approval for tax breaks, courtesy of the Nashville City Council, here on the 5-pack. Now, when we return, we'll get you the 5 things that will matter for tonight. Before that, though, the NFL draft is coming up tomorrow. Let's take a sneak peek at what we can get prepared for on Thursday night.
The NFL Draft is now officially open.
Better Sports Network and Fantasy Alarm present the 2023 NFL Draft Bettercast, covering the fantasy football and sports betting angles of the NFL Draft.
Are you ready? Let's get it started.
Rookie scouting reports, NFL player comparisons, instant projections, draft props, and live betting. Live reports from Fantasy Alarm's Britt Flynn in Kansas City. Follow the NFL Draft and play our live Q&A contest for your chance to win fabulous prizes.
With the first pick,
this is the 2023 NFL Draft Bettercast on Fantasy Alarm and Better Sports Network.
Welcome back to the 5-pack. Next up, the 5 things that will matter. Here's Kyle Elfrink.
You know, tomorrow when we do this segment here on the 5-pack, we'll be talking a load about the NFL draft. First round begins tomorrow night. To follow up on that dynamite promo there for what we're doing with draft weekend, make sure to be a part of our Bettercast. It starts tomorrow at 7 o'clock. We'll do it again on Friday at 6 o'clock. It will be live and as it happens, where you get to hang out with other fans, comment, answer questions, hear about odds, fantasy impacts, everything as it happens at the NFL draft, we'll be talking about on the Bettercast. You can do that with the Better Sports app. That is the only place to enjoy the Bettercast, the only place to win some prizes, to answer some questions, have some trivia fun, converse back and forth with your fellow football fans. Check it out tomorrow night. It is our coverage, as only we can do it, the 2023 NFL Draft right here on the Better Sports Network and part of the Better Sports app. Okay, let's get to our 5 things that will matter for tonight. Again, tomorrow's going to be a lot of football, but tonight, no football. Tonight, we got a lot of basketball. And let's start with the fact that the Milwaukee Bucks and the Memphis Grizzlies, it's go time, baby. Got to get some wins. One more loss for either of these two teams, led by Ja Morant, led by Giannis Antetokounmpo. One more loss, and they're donezo. Why is that important? Well, Milwaukee's the 1 seed in the East. I looked it up today. A 1 seed has not lost in the first round of the NBA playoffs since 2012. It's a long time. Now, Memphis is a 2 seed. Both teams are down 3-1. Entering tonight, though, Milwaukee is expected to win this sucker. Right now, they are favored by 11.5 points for this game. You can catch it at 9:30 tonight on NBA TV. They'll be taking on Miami. Key for Milwaukee is pretty simple. It's like, dude, slow down Jimmy Butler. We talked about Jimmy Butler yesterday. The guy is going bonkers. He was insane the other night. He's hitting like 64% of his shots from the field for the series. He's doing everything. It's just crazy. And Giannis, yeah, he missed 2.5 games in effect. He came back the other night, had a triple-double, and Jimmy Butler still was able to get that win against Milwaukee. Now, again, the odds say Milwaukee wins this game. They're favored by 11.5. The series odds, though, have Miami at minus 155. They are the favorite now in this series versus the Bucks, who are at plus 125. As for that other game, Memphis and LA, Lakers are up 3-1. Series is returning to Memphis tonight. That game will be before the Miami-Milwaukee game. Tip-off tonight in Memphis is going to be 7:30. You can catch it on TNT. You look at the Grizzlies, and I was checking out the odds. The series odds are crazy to me. I brought this up yesterday. The Lakers are now minus 1,000 to win this series. That is, again, they're a favorite, but that is way out of bounds. I would say they're more like minus 400. And I say that because the Lakers have been a very, very difficult team to ever rely on this year. And right now they're playing LeBron, Anthony Davis. These guys are playing. But even with that, just the other day, the Grizzlies took them to OT. And honestly, the Grizzlies probably played better than the Lakers did in Game 4. The Game 1 loss by Memphis, which was at home, they lost Ja Morant with like 7 minutes to go in that game. It was a very close game before his injury. Now, Ja is back, and I think tonight, give me the Grizzlies. And honestly, you never want to sit here and say, oh, man, the underdog has a great chance at coming back from 3-1. Like, you don't want to sit here and say that. But at those odds, plus 650 for Memphis to come back, I'd take it. And it probably has more to do with the Lakers and kind of their schizophrenic nature than something to do with the Grizzlies. Like, I think Memphis can go to LA and get a win. If we get a 7-game series between the Grizzlies and the Lakers, that means 2 of the next 3 are home games for the Memphis Grizzlies. So I get it. The Lakers are a favorite. They should be the odds-on favorite. They should not be at minus 1,000 to win this series. That's just crazy talk there. So plus 650, that's some really good value on the Memphis Grizzlies. Again, 9:30 tonight for the Bucks and the Heat, NBA TV with that. 7:30 on TNT for the Lakers and the Grizzlies. Memphis is favored by 4.5 going into tonight's game. Now, there is another very important NBA playoff game, Game 5 in Sacramento, where right now the series is 2-2 between the Kings and the Warriors. But the big news coming into this one is De'Aaron Fox and his fractured left index finger. Now, you can see on the photo, which hand is he shooting with? That would be the left hand. He's got a fractured left index finger. Now, he officially is listed as doubtful, but he said yesterday he is 99%, if not 100%, going to play tonight against the Warriors. He is critical. I understand a lot of you maybe haven't been following Kings basketball all year, but De'Aaron Fox is their stud. De'Aaron Fox is their Steph Curry. For this playoff series, he is averaging 31.5 points, 7 boards, 6 assists, and 2.5 steals. He's not everything, but he's the thing for the Sacramento Kings. Now, as he gets set for tonight, we shall see, because we saw it in the second half of Game 4, a Game 4 that Golden State won. In that second half, guess who was mostly matched up defensively with De'Aaron Fox? It was Draymond Green. Now, if there is a guy out there who might look at the injury report and go, injured finger, you say? Maybe a bump here and a twist there. I'm not accusing Draymond of anything untoward. I would never do that. Not to Draymond Green. He is a bastion of civility, right? Let's see. Let's see. Draymond against De'Aaron Fox. Doesn't it just scream trouble? Kind of does. 10 o'clock tonight. The game is in Sacramento. Golden State's been terrible on the road this year, yet somehow they are a 1.5 point favorite for this game. No way. Give me Sacramento, even with the injury. For me, the big key outside of De'Aaron Fox and his finger, Sacramento getting up and down, kicking the pace up. When they've had success in the series, and again, it's 2-2 right now going into Game 5. It's been because of fast break points and getting up and down. That's what Sacramento wants to do. And Golden State's not old. It's not like a bunch of 37-year-olds running. But Sacramento's younger. And Sacramento kind of wants to keep that pace moving. And Golden State can match it. They got Klay Thompson. They got Steph Curry. They got Jordan Poole, Andrew Wiggins, all these guys. But for Sacramento, it's very important to have the pace going their way. And when they've done that, they've been victorious in this series. Series odds have Golden State minus 275 right now, Sacramento plus 220. And again, we talked about it before here on the 5-pack. Golden State has been brutally bad on the road this year. Doesn't matter who's playing, they can't win. So tonight, at least for this evening, give me Sacramento to get that win, to pull off the upset, if you will. Let's go to our third item that will matter for today. Yes, today, not tonight. Those basketball games are tonight, but there is some fun sporting action today. Let me introduce you to an absolute cracker of a match that's going to take place in Manchester, England later today. 3 o'clock Eastern for Man City against Arsenal. Now, let me regale you with why this match is important. First off, the English Premier League does not have a playoff. There is no postseason. Shocker of shockers, if you are the best team, you win the title. Unlike stateside, where we insist on a playoff and the best team rarely wins the title. Over in England, the actual best team just wins it. They don't have to create this fake contest to get people interested. And quite often, the best team is clear. Quite often in the English Premier League, the top team is a team that wins, from beginning to end. They're a very strong team. This year is a little different. Right now, Arsenal, the team in red, is currently sitting atop the table. They have 75 points. Man City has 70. For those of you not familiar with soccer, you get 3 points for a victory. You get no points for a loss. You get 1 point for a tie. So Arsenal's up 75-70. We are very late in the season. Now, right now, Man City has played 30 games. Arsenal has played 32. So Man City has 2 games in hand. They get the head-to-head at home today against Arsenal. They're 5 points back. A win by Man City pulls them within 2 points. They would still have 2 games in hand. This is a very huge showdown. Arsenal's been at the top pretty well all season. Man City, who was the preseason favorite to win the EPL, they've been chasing and chasing and chasing. The guy you saw there in blue, by the way, let me introduce you to Erling Haaland. Erling Haaland is having like the Aaron Judge sort of season in the EPL. This kid's out of Norway. It's his first year with Man City. He was brought over from the German soccer league. Right now, Erling Haaland, this is crazy, 32 goals in 28 games. Now, usually the EPL leader will have like 23 goals for the season. He has 32 in 28 games. Easily the best goal scorer in soccer. Not the best player, but when you talk about like the best home run hitter, it's Aaron Judge or Pete Alonso. Here's your best goal scorer. He's been unstoppable. Bukayo Saka, that's the player there for Arsenal. Arsenal's got plenty of youth. A lot of young guys kind of playing better than anyone expected. So 3 o'clock today. Now, unfortunately, the brilliant power brokers that be said, let's put this game on Peacock. I'll be listening to it. Yes, I'll listen to soccer. I'm not going to sign up for Peacock. Sorry. I'm already signed up for cable. Put the game on USA, okay? Seriously? Peacock? But who knows? I'll probably get people to sign up for this big showdown. Odds for this game to win, Man City minus 165, so heavy favorite. Arsenal to win plus 450. A draw is plus 330. They do not have overtime. That is another very enticing part of the sport. No overtime. So the draw is plus 330. Current title odds. And again, a lot of signs kind of favor Man City. The current title odds, Man City minus 450. Arsenal is plus 300. 3 o'clock today for that EPL showdown. Okay, that's all the soccer I have. Don't get angry. Just wanted to hit you. It's a big game. It's a huge game. To me, that game is like a World Cup semifinal. The way I'd be excited for a World Cup semifinal is how I'm excited for Arsenal Man City coming up later today. Moving on to item number 4. Back to the world of baseball. We have a return to the hill tonight that I don't think many people are talking about, but maybe they should. Later tonight in Pittsburgh, Tony Gonsolin of the LA Dodgers back on the hump. Now, last season, Tony Gonsolin went 16-1. He had a 2.14 ERA. People said, he can't do it again. Check out Tony Gonsolin for his career. For his career, 26-6, a 2.51 ERA, a .99 whip, and 8.8 Ks per 9. That's over 50 starts and about 60 big league appearances. The question becomes, what more do you need to see to think Tony Gonsolin's good? Like, seriously, 26-6, a 2.5 ERA, a sub-1 whip, and a K per inning? If this guy had been rated coming out of the minors as like a top 20 pitcher, everybody would say, he's a superstar. But because he doesn't have that, no one really thinks of him that way. Yet he's pitching like a damn superstar. He's up against Pittsburgh tonight. That Dodgers team has not really played good baseball this year. Gonsolin, I mentioned making his debut. He's been out with an ankle injury since way back in spring training. Dodgers, I looked at it this morning, about a third of their roster has sucked. Like literally, bad hitting, a couple of bad starting pitchers, 1 or 2 bad relievers. About a third of the roster bad. They are still first place in the NL West. They are still 13-11. They're still doing Dodger things. So they now get Tony Gonsolin back. That will allow them to strengthen that rotation a bit. They're getting closer to kind of moving on, I think, from Noah Syndergaard. But tonight, 6:35 first pitch, the return of Tony Gonsolin. And then finally, 5 things that will matter for today. And this is a fun one. Today, April 26th, is the release of the 2023 Bowman baseball set. Now, why is that important? Well, here today in 2023, Bowman has become the place to be for rookie cards. And right there, you're seeing one of them, Drew Jones. Drew Jones is the son of Andrew Jones. I think he was the number 2 pick last season for Arizona. What you're looking at there is a Drew Jones autograph card that is a 1-of-1 superfractor. So this is a really glossy card with an autograph of a really good player, a prospect. He's not going to be in the big leagues this year, probably not even next year. But everybody's excited about Drew Jones. And you'll notice the 1/1 up there. There's only one of these. And this Bowman set has a lot of that. It's kind of the set to go to get the first card of a lot of prospects, of a lot of soon-to-be rookies, the first official card, and they come with autographs. Now, that Drew Jones card is kind of crazy. Again, the Bowman packs will be released today, so everybody's on the hunt. They want that card. There's only one of them. Check out this contest. And I saw this on The Athletic article by Levi Weaver and Chris Welsh. And they kind of go into the whole route of how Bowman and Topps brings those rookies together and kind of rents a house out during spring training. And these guys show up and they sit there and they sign cards and there's like food provided and it's a really nice house and there's games to play. Like they make it fun for these prospects to show up. So Drew Jones shows up. He signs his Superfractor. Now they asked Drew Jones why he's signing this. You understand how much this car is going to be worth? He's like, no, I have no idea. And they're like, could be hundreds of thousands of dollars, like immediately. And look at this contest. There's a hobby shop called Dave and Adam's Card World. Here is the contest they have for that Drew Jones card that you were just looking at. If anyone pulls that card out of their Bowman 2023 pack in the first 30 days of release, today is day one. If anybody pulls it in the next month, Dave and Adam's Card World will give you $250,000 immediately for that card. Now, that's only half the fun. Here's the other half of the fun. If you say, nah, I think I can get more elsewhere. Well, they have a deal that if you hold on to the card, you don't give it to them for $250K, and you hold on to it. Let's say Drew Jones makes the Hall of Fame. So, I mean, guy's like 18 years old. So 25 years from now, if Drew Jones makes the Hall of Fame, that card they will pay you $1 million for. Now, that sounds cool and everything, but let's think about this out loud. I take $250,000 right now today, or I wait 2.5 decades to maybe get $1 million. No way. You take the $250 immediately. So if anybody listening to me right now, if you pull that Drew Jones rookie card, the 1-of-1 Superfractor autograph Bowman card, get rid of it. At least to those guys. Now, somebody out there may be willing to pay more than $250,000. But there you go. It's a big day in the card collecting universe. Day one of the Bowman card release. If you're interested in a wax box is 24 packs. Those wax boxes are going for about $400. And I think that's 240 cards, 10 cards per pack. Let's just say that the Bowman 2023 set will be held in much higher regard than the set we're going to take a look at coming up next on the 5-pack. We will have our pack rip, the daily pack rip of the 1990 Fleer baseball. These were probably $1.25. Yeah, probably not even $1.25 back in the day. You could get a wax box, which back in the day was, I think, 36 packs. You could probably get a wax box for about $40 back in the day, maybe $35. Now you can probably get a wax box for like $6. We will never be saying that about the 2023 Bowman. When we return on the 5-pack, it is the daily pack rip 1990 Fleer baseball. We'll see us where the pack takes us next, right here on the Better Sports Network.
I know in baseball terms, it's early. I grew up a Yankee fan, and I wake up here on this Wednesday morning, and the Yankees actually lost the season series to the Minnesota Twins for the first time since when? 2001. Thanks for playing at home. The Yankee offense right now is absolutely dreadful. I think they're 22nd in Major League Baseball and runs scored, 27th in Major League Baseball, and team batting average all of 225. And yes, I understand Giancarlo Stanton is hurt once again, but we talked about the organizational depth of this team. Anthony Volpe has made errors in 3 consecutive games, and I like Anthony Volpe. He's not exactly setting himself apart as a young shortstop so far on the Major League level. Listen, I know the Yankees, their struggles have come in October, not necessarily in the regular season. All of that is true. When they bottomed out, they still were an above 500 baseball team. That's a credit to Brian Cashman. But the Yankees need to win a championship at some point in time. And the Yankee offense has always been the constant. It's always been about the bullpen has been strong. The starting rotation has been good enough. Garrett Cole has pitched like the best pitcher this year in all of Major League Baseball. But when you look at this Yankee lineup right now, let's be honest, it stinks. And the results are the results. They actually lost a season series to the Minnesota Twins, who they always beat. For more content like this, go to Better Sports Network app. Visit bettersports.com and at Better Network on all your social media platforms.
Time now for the Daily Pack Rip on the 5-Pack with Kyle Elfrink.
Got about another 15 minutes or so to go on this Wednesday edition of the 5-Pack. When we are done here, coming up at 1 o'clock, quick outs will head your way. Fantasy football talk there from 1 to 2 o'clock. Britt Flynn following up at 2 p.m. with her story. Kind of a look behind the curtain of the fantasy sports industry and profiling some of the many women who make this industry so enjoyable. Also later today, coming up at 3 o'clock, the Fantasy Football Game Show, Front Yard Fantasy. We'll get that going at 3 p.m. Of course, we come at you each and every day at 12 o'clock Eastern. I want to thank our producer, Heather Klein. We have given you the 5 moments that mattered from last night. We have provided you the 5 moments that matter for today and for tonight. And in the case of that Bowman card, forever. Let us now get to more card talk. Let us get to our Daily Pack Rip. We are celebrating 1990 Fleer baseball, which for the most part, we have kind of stuck in our sweet spot on these pack rips, kind of like from 88 to 94. And we'll venture out into other avenues as we go along. But we got a lot of these floating around, just like the world has a lot of these floating around. I am always fascinated by the giveaways that these packs talk about on the back of the wax pack here. Here's a good one with Fleer. And and you know how today you'll talk to kids and they're like, that's dumb. Why would I want that? Why am I interested in that? That's like so boring. I'll be that kid today and tell you about the offer that Fleer Baseball provided on the back of their wax packs here. All you would have to do is send $3.99 to Fleer. And where would you send this? To Philadelphia, PA. You'd send them $3.99. I don't even think you'd have to send like empty packs. Yeah, it's just $3.99. And they would give you, look what Fleer was going to give you for $4 back in 1990. 10 deluxe heavy-duty top-loading pages that fit into any 3-ring binder. But that's not all. There's more. Each sheet is embossed with quote-unquote official Fleer collector sheet on the spine. What do you think those are worth these days? Honestly, though, those collector sheets that you would throw in the binder, they might be worth more than any card in this set. There's really nothing about there's like a Griffey because there's always a Griffey. But even that Griffey's kind of cheap compared to the others. There's a weird story with is it Jose Uribe, who played for the Giants? And for some reason, his cards are going for a lot of money online. There is a rumor out there, a conspiracy theory that it has to do with money laundering. Like nobody knows why anybody would pay money for a Jose Uribe card. So maybe if we pull a Jose Uribe card here, we can split the proceeds, do some money laundering, and feel good about ourselves. Now, Fleer back in the day, and again, this was year number 10 of Fleer, 1990. One thing they were known for is they would give you sticker cards. So there you go. I was just talking about the Cubs earlier. Man, they're flying high with Nico Horner and Justin Still. Here you go, a Cubs sticker card. I'd get this back in the day and probably burn it. You know, you were supposed to hate. Let's do the Fleer baseball quiz, shall we? We have a baseball quiz. And I'm not going to look at the answers. We'll see if we can get these. Number 1, what was the original name of Wrigley Field? The original name of, I think I've heard this before, but I do not know the answer. If anybody knows the answer, feel free to type it in our chat room. The original name of Wrigley Field, I'm going to kick myself when I find out what it is. I'll go with Chicago Stadium, even though that's wrong. Number 2, when was the last year the Cubs won the World Series? Oh, that was 2016. 1906, I think it was for the Cubs. Which 2 U.S. presidents have attended Cubs home games? I'm going to say one of them's Ronald Reagan, because he was born and raised in Illinois. So we'll go with Ronald Reagan. He was a big Cubs fan. So I'll go with Ronald Reagan. Let's see, another president. Let's go with Nick. I'm trying to think anybody else out of Illinois. This was pre-Barack Obama, so we can't go that route. Another Cubs baseball. Chicago. I'm going to say Trying to think out. Jimmy Carter. Let's go Jimmy Carter. Reagan Carter. We'll put those two guys down. Question number 4. In what year was the first night game played at Wrigley? I think I know this. 89. It's 88 or 89. I'm going to say, I think it's 88 because the Cubs hosted the All-Star game in 89, which was a night, or maybe they hosted it in 90. I'm going to go with the first Cubs home game, which I do know was against the Philadelphia Phillies. And I remember Lenny Dykstra getting tangled up in the ivy of that first ever home game. It was a big event. Like that was like, I want to say like a Tuesday night baseball game. And it was on national TV. Night game at Wrigley Field. So it was a huge event. I remember watching. I remember Lenny Dykstra like running into the ivy, and it was like June or July. It was green, and getting tangled up and losing a baseball. I'm going to say the first night game, 1988. No, 89. I'm going to go 89. Okay, let's see how I did. I would not have gotten this. The original name of Wrigley Field was Wingman Park. Weeghman. Last time the Cubs won the World Series, at least at the time this card was produced, was 1906. We got that. I got Ronald Reagan correct. I missed. I should have thought. Of course, it's William Howard Taft. The answer is always William Howard Taft. Of course. He was the only other U.S. president to attend a Cubs game. And I got that. Did I get that right? No, I got it wrong. I said 1988. I said 89. I was close, though. So there you go. The Fleer Action Series with a little trivia. Okay, now let's get to the reason we're here. We're here for the pack break, right? We begin with Larry Anderson of the Houston Astros. For some reason, I don't know if this is the same Larry Anderson. He was kind of seen as a goofball, Larry Anderson. But I think this might be a different Larry Anderson. But I'm going to call him goofball Larry Anderson. You see the cards, pretty boring. White, whatever your team color was, that would go with your name and your position. You got the emblem, typical Fleer stuff. Fleer, of course, I've talked about this before. They're vital signs. And Fleer was cutting edge. Folks, this is 1990. Back in 1990, Fleer was talking about walk ratio, strikeout ratio, and opposing batting average. Cutting edge right here, folks. They don't get enough credit. Carney Lansford, who was a very good hitter for the Oakland A's. I think he won a batting title with Oakland one of these years. Let's see. He hit 336 in 89. So this is in celebration. I think he won the batting title or came close to it. Maybe he had to settle for second behind Wade Boggs, who won like every batting title in the mid to late 80s. But Carney Lansford, pretty good player, pretty good third baseman. Jim Deshaies, who, interestingly enough, we were just talking about the Chicago Cubs. Jim Deshaies is currently on the Chicago Cubs television broadcast. He hangs out with Boog Scampy. They do the broadcast there. I think Joe Girardi's on there a lot this season. But Jim Deshaies, who pitched a little bit for the Cubs, somehow landed a spot in the booth. This is kind of crazy. We had Bob Welch just the other day, right? Now, okay, I'm going to jump the gun here because I don't know if you've noticed this. I've noticed this. We started with Larry Anderson. Then Carney Lansford. Jim Deshaies. Now, do you notice anything about this? You notice anything going on here? Because our next card, what's going on here? Anybody notice that? Is it 2 Astros and 2 A's? Is that what we're seeing? I think we are. Random, right? Just wait. So 2 Astros, 2 A's. We get Bob Welch. What is that? At Fenway Park before a game. He's excited. Our next player is, of course, an Astro. Mike Scott won a Cy Young in 86. He was a stud for the Astros. So now we're up to Astro A, Astro A, Astro. Could we get another A? Yeah, let's throw in Storm Davis. Could we get another Astro? Yeah, let's go with Glenn Davis, who suffered from some eye issues. I think he got vertigo. Glenn Davis ran into some vertigo problems. But let me recap all this for you, folks. Here's the order we have gone with our cards. Astro. Oh, A. Astro. A. Astro. A. Astro. Say it with me. A. Now, this was the 90s, kids. You'd get stuck with it. This just happened. Now, at least we're getting good A's. I mean, we got Carney Lansford, Dennis Eckersley, and Bob Welch. Legend. Now, I don't want to mess with the Mariano Rivera fans out there, but at his best, Eck was the best as a closer. Well, the streak is broken. Astro A, Astro A, Astro A. It's broken by Paul Gibson. Another guy who got away with wearing regular old glasses on the hill. What about that? A Detroit Tiger. Hey, you get one Detroit Tiger, why not get another one? Another nameless Tiger, Brian Dubois, or Dubois. Whoever it was, he didn't last long in the major leagues. Here's Kent Mercker. This is, I think, our second Kent Mercker card this season, which I noticed the other night when Spencer Strider came within 5 outs of the no-hitter. He was trying to become the first Brave to pitch a no-hitter since Kent Mercker. So Kent Mercker is all over the news this week. I guess this is going to be the Detroit portion of the pack. Fred Lynn. Check it out, man. Fred Lynn's first years with the Red Sox, 76 through 80. Fred Lynn was a hell of a player. I mean, Fred Lynn, if you talk to a Red Sox fan in the late 70s, this guy was booked for the Hall of Fame. And he still had a good run in the 80s, but he bounced to the Angels, eventually the Tigers, the Orioles. Very good player. Not Hall of Fame, but his career was certainly Hall of Fame worthy in the first 5 or 6 years. Another Tiger, another speedster, Gary Pettis. A lot of speed there. Another Tiger. This entire pack, A's, Astros, Tigers, and one Brave so far. Here's Frank Williams of the Tigers. I'm starting to figure out why it was so difficult to build a card set back in the day. Holy cow, Mom. I got another pack that is nothing but A's and Astros. Here is a Ryne Sandberg All-Star card. They would call this an insert back in the day. It's not a super fractor, though, and there's no autograph, and there's no portion of the dude's jersey. It's just like a different picture of Ryne Sandberg. And then, of course, in a set that has given us a avalanche of Astros and A's, we might as well finish with another A, Rick Honeycutt. Now, I will say, if there was a team to get in 1990, it's probably the Oakland A's. They were the best team in baseball. And our pack today has given us, let me count the number of A's. Let me count the A's, as they say. We ended up with 5 Oakland A's. This is a pack of 15, by the way. A third of it was Oakland A's. We ended up with 4 Houston Astros. Card numbers all in the 200s for the Astros. For the A's, these are all 25 or lower on the backs. And we ended up with 4 Detroit Tigers. 5 A's, 4 Astros, 4 Tigers, 1 solitary Brave. I don't know how the hell he got in here. How in the hell did he get in here, Kent Mercker? And then we got an all-star card. I'm guessing the Sandberg card is probably worth the most. Who, remember, it's Ryne, not Ryan. Ryne Sandberg. There's only one Ryne. He's Sandberg. Okay, that does it for the rip. That does it for the 5-pack. That does it for our Wednesday. Have a great day, a great night. We'll meet back tomorrow. Tomorrow's NFL Draft Day. We'll catch you on the 5-pack, 12 Eastern, right here on BSN.